Some additional thoughts for Voodoo by D'Angelo. And as I was getting prepared, I realized I never took any notes. And then I remembered I never took any notes because what do you write down when an album is just essentially perfect, amazing, phenomenal? Like, I remember sitting down like on Saturday and Sunday. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take some notes, and it's just like, well, yeah, it's great. Like, it felt dumb. Basically, it felt dumb to try and articulate something that people have said to me in terms of they think it's the best album ever. And I did see I don't think it was it was just like an audio. It wasn't a video, but it was Rick Rubin and Questlove talking about the process of this album. And even Rick Rubin was saying, no, it's probably one of the best albums ever made in the history of ever, and space, and time, and what have you. All of the things. And what's so cool about it, last night I had a friend over. He doesn't really listen to hip hop. No big deal, right? And I put it on, and we're just having dinner, we're eating, talking, hanging out. And I noticed a couple of times he was just kind of like fucking, because it's so cool. And I think when it comes to this album specifically, what I love the most about it is I've always wanted something like when you go see live shows, especially when the group or the artist or whoever is really good live, it's always a bummer to go back to the car, go home, put the album on and listen to it because it's just not, it doesn't have that energy. It's not the same. You know, the live shows for the people who are really good live are incredible compared to the studio recordings. And that's one of the things that's so great about YouTube is sometimes if you can find a good quality video with good audio, you can kind of recapture that feel, that live show. And I've always wanted something, and I'm sure there's plenty of jazz albums out there. I'm very weak on jazz. I basically don't know any jazz, but I've always wanted an album where I could put it on and it felt like I was just hanging out in this lounge bar and it's dark and it's quiet and the live band's up there and they're just fucking playing and it's got this great atmosphere and you're just hanging out. And this album to me is like the quintessential experience for that. Just put it on. And what's cool too is you can take time and listen to the lyrics and kind of dive into what's going on. I got some great, really impressive messages from people talking about how this album for them was very important because it was really the first time they heard somebody from a male perspective expressing feelings like this, kind of showing these emotions. And so that was kind of neat. And then I realized, yeah, this is, 2000. So it's right after 10, 15 years of hardcore gangster rap kind of dominating the scene and everyone's a badass. And so for Voodoo to come out and D'Angelo with Voodoo to come out and do these things and say these things, kind of a culture shock. And then it was kind of wild to listen to Rick Rubin and Questlove talk about this album and its creation process and it taking 5 years. And the record company basically harassing them saying, okay, when are you going to stop screwing around with this stupid shit and actually make the R&B album? It's all really kind of wild. And I remember going into it, hearing Questlove talk about, I saw this little 2-minute clip, how, when it first came out, nobody understood it. And 5 years later, people kind of started to get it. And then 10 years later, people finally sunk into it. And I can't really dial into that experience just because I have no frame of reference for the the late 90s R&B style, like what was going on in that scene, So for me, it's just a phenomenal album and it's super easy to listen to. I think for me, something that makes it a little easier to settle into is probably my love for ambient. I like ambient, so this being slower kind of feeds into that lane a little bit. But man, the guitar, the little drum beats, the bass lines, the soft horns. the production. Oh my God, the production is so great. And every time I listen to it, I just feel like, yep, I'm in a lounge bar, I'm chilling, got a little cigar, got a little bit of whiskey, and I love it. It really does just kind of take me away every time I put it on. One downside with this album, one thing that did not work. I tried to put it on while driving. I listen to a lot of music while I'm commuting, obviously. This does not work for me in the car. It doesn't. And, whatever, no big deal. It's not really what it's intended for, I'm sure. But it was funny. There was a couple times I was One time I was driving to work, and another time I was driving home from work, and neither time I put it on. I was like, no, this ain't working. I guess that's kind of it, which is unfortunate because it's, I like to try and make my videos a little bit longer, but I don't know what you're supposed to say to something when it's this good. I feel like it's something where it's a piece of art where you don't have to say anything about it. You don't have to explain it. There's nothing to speak to. It does it all on its own. You can put it on for almost anybody, right? I'm sure there are people who, if you listen to a lot of like high energy music and you sit down and try and listen to this, you're probably just bored out of your mind. That's how it goes. But God, it's just phenomenal. So favorite tracks, I would say I love Send It On. But can it just be all of them? Because the line is great. Send It On is really, like when you get into like the line and Send It On, Chicken Grease, Once More Again, The Root, Spanish Joint, Feel Like Me. I mean, that whole fucking run is just amazing. Amazing. Spanish Joint's really good. Really good. Untitled, of course, How Does It Feel? I did not watch the music video. People talked about it, and I didn't watch it, not so much because I don't know what it's about, but there were some comments talking about how the music video, I guess, kind of like traumatized him a bit. Something about how through the video he became like super sexualized and the fans got crazy. And so I was like, you know what? I don't even want to know, because I didn't want that to seep into my personal experience, my level of enjoyment in terms of, how it takes me away to this classic jazz lounge bar. Not that this is classic jazz, neo soul apparently is what this falls into. So I learned about that as well. Black Messiah. I definitely want to do that album. I want to do Brown Sugar as well. I'm a huge D'Angelo fan. If this is what he does, if this is the kind of music he makes, of course I want to hear his other two albums. Black Messiah, I'm probably a little bit more interested in just because people said it's a little bit more rock inspired. So that would be fucking amazing to listen to. But even Brown Sugar apparently is fantastic. So it's cool. It's really cool. And it's, again, I love to bitch about the record companies and corporations, all this other shit, right? But this is the kind of stuff that you can get when people are given time, given space, and allowed to create the music that they want to create. And we all benefit from it, in my opinion, versus the formulaic, no surprises, nothing new. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to bitch about popular music, but sometimes it just feels like it could have been any artist. Every now and then I get a little cranky when I hear the stories about how, the Britney Spears camp was really trying to get that song for Britney because they thought it'd be great for her, but the other camp got it. And it's like, Jesus, it's all manufactured behind the scenes. And it's just, I like this. I like the artistic expression coming from the person who's making it. Anyway, I'm rambling now like an old man. I'm off the rails. Fantastic album. Absolutely loved it. I love that I feel like I can put it on anytime except for driving, and who cares, right? That's fine. There's plenty of other shit to listen to while driving. I can put it on around people who don't listen to R&B, who don't listen to hip hop, and it's fun. It just blends right in. Like no one even cares. They all kind of enjoy it. There you go. Thursday, tomorrow, I don't think I'm going to do anything. I was thinking about doing another radio call-in show, but I couldn't think of a topic, and I didn't want to force it because I feel like with those, I need to be interested in the topic. Otherwise, it'll probably show through that maybe I'm not fully invested in what we're discussing. And if I'm going to take my time and your guys' time, I want it to be something, that I'm invested in. So, and then I asked my son, hey, how do you feel about playing some Sea of Thieves tomorrow? And he got all excited. So I'm going to play some video games with my son tomorrow instead of doing a live stream. Yeah. And then Friday will be Metro, Heroes and Villains. Finally going to get to that album. Him and Jid apparently have a collaboration coming this year. Lots of people have been telling me to listen to Heroes and Villains, Kevin included from Turning the Tables. So I'm going to get to that one on Friday. I look forward to it. And I guess that's it. Take care. We'll see you guys soon.